Connor here in Ireland in the back garden of my parents, and last week I attended a conference and one of the speakers was Verne Harnish. Verne is one of the founders of Entrepreneurs organization, and Verne told us 5 things that are going to differentiate great leaders in the next couple of years. And those 5 things, I'll read them out from Verne. Number 1, your ratio of no's to yeses. Number 2, meals with influencers. Number 3, calendar versus the constraints that are holding you back. 3, how many brains do you engage? And 5, quiet time, thinking time, reading time. So let's go through those 5. First, the ratio of no's to yeses. Now, I think in many of my videos I talk about Warren Buffett, and Warren Buffett's definition of integrity is that you say no to most things. Verne told us in the conference last week that it's the leaders that learn to say no to opportunities so they can focus their energy on the 1 or 2 areas where they can really make a difference. If you look at the companies, one of the data that was shown to us is that among big companies, the average revenue per employee is about $400,000 per employee. In smaller companies, that drops to about $20,000 per employee. So there's something that big companies do that generates more revenue per employee. But I think the real striking one, he put up another figure. Apple generates $485,000 per employee, not in revenues, in profit. So the question, what does Apple do? And really it comes down to not what Apple does, but what Apple chooses to not do. So the first challenge for you as a leader is to focus your attention and the attention of your company and your resources where you can really make that difference. The second area is this idea, meals with influencers. And Verne stuck up a cover of a book by Keith Ferrazzi, which is called Never Eat Alone. And the idea here is leaders that get out and sit down and eat food with influencers. And influencers today are coming from many, many different areas. In the past, business school professors and authors. But now we have bloggers. Here on YouTube, there's some very big name YouTube names. There's been a lot of successes where business leaders have had in reaching out and connecting to a small number of big influencers can make a real distinct difference in the impact of your ideas. I think one of the ideas was in the launch of one of the new theme parks, I think Harry Potter World. It was 11 bloggers or 11 YouTubers that had been reached out to by the creators of the park that really drove most of the excitement and the traffic. So that the campaign was to really connect to those influencers. So who are the top 25 people that you should know that shape the future of your industry? And when can you have lunch, dinner, or breakfast with these people? Meals with influencers. Number 3, what Verne calls calendar against constraint. So the time in your agenda, is it going to where you can make a difference, where you can move things forward, when you can remove the brakes that are holding the current machine back? So what's the top 5 biggest opportunities? What are the things that you need to get done to move them forward? And are you putting time in your calendar towards getting rid of those obstacles and making progress on the big things? I think another of the talks, Greg Bannerman, who was CEO of Continental, and he talked about a poker chip mentality, that in poker, when you play poker, there's different colors of chip. And the white chip is worth 1, the red chip is worth 5, the blue chip is worth 20, and the gold chip is worth $100. And he says the scary thing is a lot of people's calendars fill up with $1 opportunities, with the white poker chip tasks. And his challenge is put the gold poker chips into your calendar. Put them there first. What are the opportunities that are gold poker chips? And put those into your calendar, and get rid of the white poker chips in your calendar and fill your calendar with blue and gold poker chips. So number 4 was this idea of how many brains do you get access to in order to take decisions, to get ideas, to source innovation. And the idea there was Facebook. Who develops the content for Facebook? And the answer, it's not anyone paid by Facebook. It's 1 billion people that of their own volition create pages, update the pages. So Facebook has got access to 1 billion brains. I've been part of Entrepreneurs organization for the last 10 years, and almost any significant decision I have taken in the last 10 years, there are 9 people in my forum that I would share the background to the decision, the why of the decision, what I'm seeking to achieve in my life. And there's no decision I've taken in the last 10 years that has not had at least those 9 brains also looking at it, also looking at different perspectives, also thinking through who I am, what my strengths are, what my company's strengths are, and how I can play into the opportunities that I have. The question to you: how many brains do you get involved in the big decisions you have to make? If it's just your own brain, then you're really struggling on this. Join Vistage, join EO, join Young Presidents Organization, get into a group where others can give you multiple different perspectives, different ideas, different experiences that have worked for them in the past. Get as many brains helping you take good decisions, innovating on the problems you face, accessing the opportunities that you have. Get access to brains, share your problems, ask lots of questions, and get as much coming back from other brains as you can. There's a saying, if you're the smartest person in the room, find another room. If you find you're often the smartest person in the room, you've got to expand your network, get out of that room, get into a bigger room and a bigger playing field. And the final one, and I think this connects to the video that I shared last week. Last week I was up in the mountains of the French Pyrenees, and for the first time in a long time I had 24 hours of no interruption from an electronic device. And I think it's getting harder and harder to pull back from the busyness of urgent things that require my time, and to take that step up and see more clearly. And that requires having a real discipline to get hours to read good books, to think deeply about the problems that I face, my company face, the world's face, and get out of the details of the urgent reaction to stimulus. I think Bill Gates is famous for his 1 week reading week. Every year he sets aside 1 week and he reads, I don't know how many books, 2 books a day, 14 books he picks, and he spends 1 week and he reads through all of that. I think there's no problem that you face that hasn't been faced by someone already. And if it's written up in a book, read that book. Don't try and solve the world's problems alone and by yourself. Quiet time to read and quiet time to reflect on what's important, what's the most important thing for today. I teach each year at Entrepreneurs Organization Leadership Academy, and I think the core habit that we inculcate into every leader during that week is a 31-minute ritual in the morning. This comes from Warren Rustand. Warren Rustand, for me, is a very inspiring leader. And I hope one day to be 1% of how powerful, positive an impact that Warren has. And Warren teaches us that every morning he takes 31 minutes. 10 minutes reading something that inspires. 10 minutes writing down his thoughts. And then 10 minutes of just silent reflection and being around those ideas and those thoughts. And then the final minute is writing down the phrase, today is about, and finishing it off. And I find when I do this in the morning, write down today is about, very often the answer is connecting to people, helping someone, reaching out. But it helps me set a view of how I want to deal with the day. I don't want to get pulled into little petty fights. I want to stay in a mode of helping, inspiring other people. So those 5, we'll go through them just one more again. Thank you, Verne. Excellent ideas for what will define the leaders that really make a difference in the next decades. Your ratio of no's to yeses. Meals with the influencers. Your calendar, is it going to the things that are stopping you making progress, or the big things that give you an opportunity to make progress? 4th, how many brains help you take decisions? And 5th, how much quiet reading and reflection time do you habitually get into each week, each month, and each year? Have a great week. It's Connor in Dublin, in the back garden of my parents' place in the south of Dublin. Thank you for your comments, your shares, your subscriptions to the channel, your questions. A lot of questions through email, through the comments, inspire me to make more videos. Keep them coming in. Have a great week.